Welcome guys, I'm Brad Browning, breakup coach and best-selling author. And in this video, I'll be sharing 6 key tips to get your ex to forgive you. Now obviously this is especially important and relevant if you're hoping to get back together and get a second chance with this ex. But honestly, these tips will work in pretty much any situation. Unfortunately, we do have to start with some bad news. There is no magic quick fix that will guarantee your ex will forgive you for whatever you've done or, simply wipe their memory. By applying all 6 of the tips that I'll be covering shortly, you will be maximizing your chances of finding forgiveness with your ex, but it may take time. In some cases, it could even take months or even years, especially if you did something truly horrible to your ex, like cheating on them with their best friend. So you do have to be realistic. That being said, there are things that you can do to improve your chances of getting your ex to forgive you and begin to regret breaking up in the first place. Before we jump into the first tip, a quick reminder about my free quiz. If you want to know what the odds are of getting your ex back, go to breakupbrad.com/quiz and take 3 minutes to complete the quiz and just see what your chances are of success. Now, on to the first tip, which is something incredibly obvious. Number 1, issue a genuine, heartfelt apology. Now this one obviously is a no-brainer, but really not every apology is created equal. Ideally, you want to do this in person if you can. If you can't say sorry in person, that is okay, but just make sure that you find a way to make a truly heartfelt and genuine apology where you show him or her how terrible you feel about what happened and how sorry you really are. Don't fake it, don't be overly emotional or fabricate tears or anything like that. Just look them in the eyes and say how sorry you truly are. Now, if you've already done that, great job. In many cases, you don't need to do it again. One apology is often best, which actually brings us to tip number 2. Number 2 is apologize once or twice at most. Sure, it's okay to say sorry, 3 or 4 times over the course of a few weeks if you really did something seriously dumb that you're now deeply regretting. That is only natural, especially when you feel so guilty about it. But if you keep pleading and issuing apology after apology, you're going to do 2 things. 1, you'll look like you're too desperate and broken without your ex. You look like you're a shattered person that can't function until your ex accepts your apologies, and that's just not going to help you get them back. And 2, you'll actually detract from the sincerity of your initial apology. So if you keep saying sorry over and over again, your ex will get irritated and it'll actually have the opposite effect. So really just go with 1 or 2 really heartfelt and sincere apologies and leave it there. Number 3, explain what you learned from your mistakes and make it clear that you know that it wasn't acceptable. So even if you're not together anymore, when you issue that heartfelt apology that we just talked about, you'll also want to mention that you've realized how idiotic your behavior was, how you've grown as a person from this whole experience, and most importantly, make it clear that you'll never ever do it again. And then, actually live up to that promise as much as possible. Number 4, if your ex asks for details, answer their questions as needed. All right, so this one is really common when the mistake that you're apologizing for is related to cheating. So if you were unfaithful to your ex, chances are they're going to ask questions and demand more information about who you were with, what happened, why you did it, etc. Now this kind of sucks because you really don't want to reveal all that kind of stuff if you can avoid it. But if pushed by your ex, you really do need to briefly answer their questions in an honest way, making sure that your answer, gives off an undertone of regret. Don't lie, but if you can answer honestly without having to divulge the most graphic details, that's usually wise. But if they do demand details, give brief and to the point answers until you feel the important parts have been covered or until they seem satisfied with your explanations. Number 5, back off and give your ex space. Now, unfortunately, I can't really give you a clear strategy when it comes to how much time and space you need to give your ex after you've apologized, because it really depends on how bad your sins were, it depends on your ex's personality, and it depends on how well you've handled things since the breakup or since whatever you've apologized for. But the simple fact is this: if your ex says they don't want to talk to you at all, you need to respect that, at least for a while. So don't try to hang around after you apologize and make small talk. Don't try to act like everything is back to normal if your ex is still furious at you. Let them have some time alone to cool down, let the memories fade a bit, and then at that point you can begin rebuilding things from there once emotions have settled a bit. Now before we move on to the final tip in this video, I want to warn you about something really important. You can't get angry or defensive with your ex. So if you get defensive and you expect your apology and your promises not to repeat your mistakes, you expect those to immediately make your ex to forgive you and forget about things, that's often just not realistic, right? You screwed up, or at least your ex certainly thinks you did, and you can't get upset at them if they don't forgive you as quickly as you might like. So accept that your ex may need some time before they can move on and forgive you. Now, if you do need help figuring out if it's okay to contact your ex again, or if you need help determining what your best course of action should be to maximize your chances of getting them back, go to breakupbrad.com/coaching and sign up to work with me one-on-one so I can learn about your specific situation and we can come up with a plan together. I will, of course, put that link in the description below. Now, finally, number 6, get on with your life. Now, I know the natural reaction to this kind of situation is to sit around staring at your phone, hoping that your ex will text you and accept your apology. But that is absolutely not how you should handle things. You need to power through this tough stretch and keep yourself as busy as possible, especially in terms of your social life. So go out with friends, reconnect with family, make new friends. Do anything but sit around and think about your ex and the whole situation, because you're now at the point where there's nothing more you can do. So use the time productively and grab life by the balls, so to speak. All right, that's 6 keys to helping your ex forgive and forget. I really hope that you can use these tips and get back in your ex's good books again so that you can start over with them. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It only takes 2 seconds and it really helps me out. And of course, thanks a lot for watching. I will talk to you guys in the comments below. Bye for now.